And News Central's correspondent Emmanuel Baguri joins us to speak more on the explosion. Baguri, good afternoon. Thank you very much for being on the news with us. Baguri, please, what more can you tell us about the circumstances leading up to the explosion?
It's here for the people of Kano, and then the whole issue is very confusing because we're talking about the military hardware, talking about they call it the military mortar bomb. Being handled in a very civil environment. And, that error is inevitable because of course, we had the words of the Commissioner of the Police. It is not properly handled. Stuff like that, things like that are actually meant to be handled by professional military, specialists involved in management of bomb and then explosives. But that didn't happen because that particular area is actually an industrial area. And of course, we know how the heat in Kano is. We experience heat wave almost all the time. And so it calls for a lot of military intervention when it comes to handling of explosives. And that's what really happened. The name of that explosive device was, they call it the military mortar bomb. That was what happened. And the Nigerian military will expect that they should react to this kind of incident because so far so good. 5 people have been buried and 10 are still at the American Hospital. And we expect that something has to be done in that regard, yeah.
Baguru, please, let's talk about the transportation itself. We hear that it was inside of a trailer, but we haven't yet gotten information whether it was being handled by the military themselves or whether it was a private contractor. So which is it?
So what we see there, from what you can see there, it's a private contractor from I find it. I didn't see any when you see a military specialist involved in management of explosives, you will know. That is just something that the military have to come out to explain because this kind of errors can happen anywhere. This is just an example. This is just a lesson that we must learn. Obviously, that is not a military. There is no any military presence. In fact, the scene, you have the video of the scene there. There's no military presence. I don't think I would have any military statement. So it certainly has to do with contractors, and then for civilians to handle that kind of instrument or that kind of weapon, it caused a lot of explanation in the military community in Nigeria. Yeah.
Baguru, can you explain the visuals we're seeing now? We see a lot of scrap metal. We did also hear the Commissioner of Police there talk about the fact that this could have been perhaps the unfortunate handiwork of scrap pickers. I'm not exactly sure what he meant. I don't know if you can give clarity how these people seem to have been wound into the situation.
I didn't get it very clearly.
I just asked about the comments by the Commissioner of Police there, Mr. Bakori, where he talked about the unfortunate instance where this might be attributed to scrap metal pickers. Could you please expatiate on what he meant?
Yes. Yeah, scrap metal pickers, the guys, they call them the babombolas, like the scavengers. These are guys that go around, pick up these, metals for recycling, and they get paid. The popular babombola that we know, that's what they do. And then, of course, these are illiterates. They don't do anything metal. They just pick it up, magnet it up, put it in the sack, and then take it up for sale to recycler. So that metal, we have those kind of persons. A lot of them work a lot. Depend on that kind of trade in Kano. Most especially the destituted and marginals. Most of them are involved in that kind of trade. So it's very possible that the Commissioner of Police is very right that may happen because and then the population of those guys doing that kind of business is massive. In every 5 meters or 10 meters, you will see 2 or 3 involved in that kind of business. So you can imagine it's very possible that has happened. But he said it's not clear that investigation is ongoing. As soon as the investigation is completed, they're going to find out what really happened. We'll be following up to find out, the outcome of that investigation. Yeah.
Now, we know what happens when matters like this happen in the north. This is Kano, of course, and such an explosion. So I'm wondering what the people in the community had first thought. How did this affect their sense of security, first off?
Yes, Kano have been experiencing a lot of crime moments, talking about tragedies. I mean, we are like 3 to 4 tragedies in just less than 2 months there in Kano, and it's affecting really their psychological mindset. I mean, they are not really in good shape. Most of them that we've spoken to are feeling, as if, something is against something more metaphysical, more physical is against their faith. it's something that they're trying to grapple with. Right now, they are not tensed. They don't have any instances of insecurity. They have done a lot of security state. Kano is the only state in the Northwest where you can't find terrorists, where you can't find kidnappers. So they have done a lot in that aspect. So, but coming to experience this kind of, pockets of tragedies is something that they're trying to find it so difficult, to manage. But the governor is back from Hajj. We expect that a lot of things are going to be calm now. And then, as in his usual manner, he normally visits. We saw him done the same thing at the farm center just yesterday, where he visited and he issued 2 billion to renovate that farm center in Ibrahim. So we expect to see him, go around, to meet all these people involved in this study. We're talking about, we also have the issue of the athletes who had an accident while the governor is away. So it's a tragedy back to back for the state, and it's affecting them. So it has nothing to do with insecurity. They're only worried that they are facing, accidental tragedies which are preventable. Yeah, these are things they're worried about, not insecurity. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Bakori, finally, let me ask. We couldn't see exactly the state of damage. So you have eyes on the ground there. What exactly is it like? What extent of damage are we looking at here?
Yeah, the damage is about lives, a little bit of property. We have a factory nearby the Naiva quarters. That particular factory, we've seen a lot of, iron metals that were being destroyed, and then, of course, the 15 persons that were injured, of which 5 persons later died at the American Hospital. So far, so good. That has been the damage on record. For now, the police is still taking stock of what was the impact of that particular explosion. So as time goes on, most statements will be released, and I will provide the public the little information they need there.
Well, Emmanuel Bakori, thank you very much for being with us on the news to give us details about the explosion there in Kano. Thank you.